Hi everyone. Well, today's kind of a treat because I got my good friend, my good buddy Steve Roehm with me right here on Skype, and what we're going to talk about is definitely all about the conversational hypnosis training that we decided to do in Denmark in June 2014. So first of all, hi Steve.
Hello, hello.
Hello. and welcome, because this is something especially for, European guests. And just as the training, this will be in English because you teach in English, you speak English, and most people understand it, so that would be perfect. But
yeah.
First of all, could you briefly tell people who you are? Because some people might not know you. I know my students know you already, but for those who do not know you, give them an introduction to Steve Roehm.
Okay, well, I'm a master hypnotist. I'm a master practitioner of neurolinguistic programming. I am a trainer for Igor Lidovsky's protocol, the conversational hypnosis training that I'm bringing to Europe, and this will be the first time that I've brought this to Europe, and it hasn't been taught too many times there anyway,
No.
as far as this protocol. But I've been studying and practicing hypnosis for almost 15 years now, and I came across this protocol probably 6 or 7 years ago. And it changed my entire approach to my work and to the therapy work that I'm doing with my clients. And I found it much simpler, much more sophisticated than what I was doing before, because it really, once you learn the groundwork of this, you can use it in a lot of different ways. But we'll get into that as we talk more about this. But I have a private practice here in Nashville, Tennessee, here in the U.S., and I also teach here, and I've taught various places around the country, and now we're bringing this to Europe, so I'm really excited about that.
Definitely, and it will be exciting because definitely, as you just told people, that this would be kind of a different protocol to what they already know. And you and I go way back, and we all also been brought up with, classical hypnosis, the NGH stuff, and all of that, how to do it as they did it back in the 70s, 80s,
Sure.
early 90s. And what kind of interesting, I guess, the thing that made you and I so good friends were that nobody's to tell us how to keep doing hypnosis as they did back when. Because if there's something new, something that goes faster, something that works even more powerful, that would be something that you and I would look even more into the depth of.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Always looking for innovations.
Exactly. And you introduced me to Igor also, and we went to the Amsterdam training last year, the Ericksonian stuff, and I was blown away by the whole, not so much especially about the Ericksonian stuff, but how everything is put together. And I know that will relate to any kind of thing that comes out of, the mind of Igor, and you teach it just as well as he does. So I guess people are kind of into a treat doing this in Europe.
Yeah, it's a whole different approach. People who come into this training, I'm not going to hand them a book full of scripts, because you know how I feel about scripts.
Yeah.
Scripts are not something that should be used in hypnosis.
Exactly.
Because they're not meant for the person you're working with. They're not meant for your subject. Where this training differs and what we're going to be teaching is how to actually use the tools and teach the technology behind the techniques. And once you fill that toolbox, then you can use it in a lot of different ways, and really it gives you much more freedom to work with clients. But I appreciate you saying that I teach as well as Igor does. I think he does an amazing job. I think I've been studying his work for several years now, and feel very fortunate to be one of his trainers. There are only a handful of us in the world right now. And he invited me to go to the 3-week training that he was doing as a train the trainer program, and I was completely blown away because it changed not only my way of practicing hypnosis, but my way of teaching hypnosis. And this training, like I said, people are not going to walk in and I'm just going to hand them a book full of scripts.
No.
In fact, they're not even going to get the book for a few days because I want people to be immersed in it and actually start practicing. And people who have never done hypnosis are going to be hypnotizing people the first day. And then we're going to build up from there, and then it just gets really kind of confusing by the middle of the week, and by the end of the week, it all comes together.
Yeah.
We have to create that bit of confusion to get people out of their old mindset. And I love watching people go through this training, just because I get to see the growth where people go from, that awkward stage where they're just starting to get on their feet, and all the way up to elegance, where they're starting to master the techniques and put them into real practice, and change people's lives in a lot of great ways.
If I told you to explain like the structure or the whole idea about conversational hypnosis in, just to compare it with, what people call hypnosis themselves, no matter what kind of hypnosis they do.
Yeah.
But looking at conversational stuff, what is conversational hypnosis really?
Well, the whole concept came out of when Igor was working with some executives. And when you're working with people like that, they don't necessarily want the watch in their face. They're not looking for this kind of woo-woo stuff. They don't even want that, but they want the change that comes along with those techniques. And how this was created was just a way to approach people, to get them in a waking trance, and guide them into a whole new way of thinking, so they step out of the problem and start to access resources, which gives them answers and the ability to step past the problem they were in before. But it's not just close your eyes and go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. It's not like that. Though there are some aspects of that can be applied to this, that's not necessarily the whole concept behind it. It's really about guiding people through an experience, so you open them up to what we call the trance of infinite possibilities. And once you get people into that trance of infinite possibilities, then they can access resources that are beyond the problem, and they can find what they need on the other side of that.
Just to go even deeper into the waking trance, because mostly people know that there would be a pre-talk, there would be like the deeper induction, fractionating, deepening them, and then, the script reading for some people or the therapeutical stuff for other people. Right. And how does the conversational stuff work? If we look at that from the very beginning, the waking trance, what do you exactly mean by that?
Well, when people are in trances all the time anyway. They just don't realize it. And what I want to do is teach people how to utilize that state of mind. When somebody sits down and they pick up their remote control and turn on their television, boom, they just gave that television permission to hypnotize them. But they don't even know they're in hypnosis. So we're going to utilize that state just through conversation, and when we get into what we call dynamic mental imagery, there's the non-awareness set, there's mind-bending language, which is my favorite part of it, because I love twisting people's minds around a little bit, so they have to think in new ways. But this work comes from all the way back from neuro-linguistic programming, from Ericksonian hypnosis, and from techniques that have been gathered from some of the best people in the world that have been practicing hypnosis. But it's just an approach where we can just have a simple conversation and get people to think in different ways. Step beyond the problem. I had one of my students, in fact, you know the student, her name is Janet. Janet was in my training, and she had a problem with chocolate because, she wanted to get away from the chocolate because she didn't want it to kind of own her. And just through a simple 2 or 3 minute conversation, she was able to, she doesn't even like chocolate now, and that training was 2 years ago. And it was just a very simple 2 minute conversation where I guided her into basically the trance of infinite possibilities, so she could open up to new ways of thinking about it and step beyond the problem.
Yeah. Who can apply for this training? Who can actually benefit from go to training like this?
Anybody. Because you're learning skills that you can use in your everyday communications with people. So even if people don't want to be a hypnotherapist, they can still utilize the skills to improve their communication with their friends, their family, people they work with. If you're a hypnotist already, then I think you're going to be completely blown away by this protocol. I know I was. when I was first introduced to it, because several years ago I was practicing along with the same traditional kind of stuff. I'd incorporated some neurolinguistic programming and some things like that into what I was doing already, but just having this thing packaged the way it is and having this protocol put together the way it is, it's just, again, it's a very elegant way of approaching trance work. So anybody who's interested in hypnosis at all would benefit from this. If all they have to do is come in and be willing to learn. That's it. You know, I get students or people around here all the time who ask me, well, what do I need to know before I walk in? Well, all you have to know is that you want to learn something.
Exactly.
And you want to have some fun, and you're willing to go through the experience, you know, going from that awkwardness to that elegance. Because it really is, that's really what it is. You know, everything has a learning curve. And this learning curve is much shorter than most trainings, I think. Because it's an immersion style training where people are actually doing things hands-on from day one.
And I guess that's kind of crucial to the way you teach and the way I teach and the way Igor teaches.
Sure.
That I get the same questions. What kind of books do I need to read before I get there? How can I prepare myself the best way and all of that? And it's really about just getting there, being open-minded, because you will get everything that you need. And if you need anything besides that, you will know that afterwards.
And honestly, I prefer people who have never learned hypnosis coming into this.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. People who already know hypnosis, I still want you to come into it. But that way, people are not coming in with preconceived notions of what hypnosis is and what they should be doing. Yeah. And then I'm not trying to overcome bad training that they've experienced before. So you really, all they have to do is want to come in and want to learn. That's it. That's the only prerequisite.
All right. Let's do like a list here. If you were supposed to tell people that has no experience with hypnosis right now how they could benefit from a training like this, what would be the things that you would kind of enhance and really, you know, tell about if you got the chance right now?
Now, are these people who are interested in becoming hypnotherapists or people who are just coming in to learn?
Well, learn the conversational hypnosis.
Okay.
How can they utilize that? How can they work with it afterwards?
Well, yeah, and again, just learning any communication skills is going to improve the way you work with other people. And by learning how to recognize the things that are happening with people during your communication, because, like I said, people go in and out of trance all the time. So we're going to teach them what to look for when people are going into trance and when to actually introduce ideas. Because when somebody is starting to express, you know, a trance state, then if you introduce ideas at just the right time, then it's taken in by the unconscious mind. So, you know, whether you're wanting to come in and learn it as a hypnotherapist or wanting to learn it as just somebody who's curious about hypnosis in general, it can be used, you know, in everyday communication, you know, with teenagers. And, of course, you know, us being adults, and I have a teenager myself, you know, it's a good thing to know when you can start to introduce ideas to them to help them start to think in a different way. Not necessarily so we can manipulate them, but to help guide them into a better way of thinking, so they can have more resources and more possibilities for their lives. But it can be used with spouses, which is always a good thing. You know, and again with coworkers, and it can be applied in everyday life.
So this is actually a skill set that you can use already with the kind of work you're doing already.
Sure.
But it could also be some kind of a new career that you would start up after you got certified being a conversational hypnotist.
Yeah. And this is a hypnotherapy certification training. Yeah. So you're learning the skills of actually helping doing change work.
And what about those hypnotherapists out there who think, well, I got the skills already. I learned something 10 years back, or maybe just recently got certified in whatever kind of organization, and I feel kind of safe doing that.
Right.
I know they can benefit from this also. Could you be a little bit more specific? How could they benefit from a training like this?
Well, number one, if you feel safe, then you're getting stagnant. You know, it's stepping beyond what you already know to experiment with things and to practice new things that are going to give you new tools for your toolbox down the road. Whether you've learned skills recently or 10 years ago is irrelevant. because it's just a different approach. You and I both do trainings for various other organizations. And honestly, I'm thinking about losing some of the other organizations because I think this protocol is so much more powerful. I can teach people in a matter of 6 days with this protocol what would take me weeks to do with some of the other trainings and the other materials that I offer to my students. Because, again, once you learn the framework and once you learn the technology behind what hypnosis is and how to actually induce trance and how to use the work, it's so much easier to use this. And that's really what it is. You're learning the framework here. Yeah. You're learning how to approach the work overall instead of somebody going, here, read this to somebody. Because that really, I feel like you're doing a disservice to the client and to the subject you're working with if the only thing you have in front of you is a piece of paper to read. This gives you skills that you can utilize and really do things just kind of on the fly. And that's one of the things I teach is how to actually create a script on the fly, just from the information you're gaining from the client and the conversation you're having.
Yeah. And I guess that people who already work with hypnosis, who's been through some kind of a training, they can easily understand that from 6 days you can learn quite a lot. You can learn a different kind of mindset or how to do it or structure, whatever.
Sure.
And I guess that some people who have never had this kind of training before are wondering, how can I really learn all of this in just 6 days? Is that because that the conversational stuff is already happening within the training, or how come they can being taught this so easily in 6 days?
Well, there's a lot going on in this training that people are not aware of. And that's what Igor taught me how to do, was to be 6 levels above where the training is actually happening. So I know what's happening, and I'm working with them on an unconscious level as soon as they walk in the door. The stories and the metaphors that I'm working with throughout the training, opening loops, so we create really a resource of curiosity and more of a desire for the unconscious mind to absorb these things. But it's also stepping in and actually doing the work in class. So you're making mistakes in class, so you don't have to make them when you leave class. You're actually learning how to do the work there. So it's like I said, it's a whole different approach. It's that. Well, it's just that being this much higher than the class,
yeah.
and letting and allowing the unconscious mind to absorb the information. So they're learning more than they think they're learning. And they don't really understand that until, it all starts to come together on the last day. But even beyond the training, and you could ask any student I've ever taught, that they know more than they think they learned once they leave. It's because there's so much unconscious processes that are happening,
yeah,
that it just makes it so much more powerful.
So the thing we do similar also regarding trainings is nobody can really hide in the classroom. Everybody will get noticed, and everybody will get their own chance to do something, do the difference,
sure.
and do what they just got taught.
Right.
And you will also meet everyone at their level, right?
Exactly.
And push them even further than they thought were possible regarding whatever kind of skills they got already.
Sure.
So it's hands-on, most of it, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm assessing people when they walk in the door. I'm looking at them and really starting to pay attention to their body language. I'm looking at what they're doing, so I've got an idea of how I need to approach them specifically. I am going to push people, but I'm not going to push people so far that they're going to be completely uncomfortable. Maybe a little bit,
yeah.
Because I think that's important for growth. There has to be a little bit of discomfort, so you step out of the old paradigms and old beliefs that you had before, so you can actually create new resources for yourself. But yeah, I'm going to meet everybody where they are. Whether they're walking in for the first time, they've never had any experience, or whether they've been practicing for 10 years or more. It's really meeting them where they are, so we can improve their skills and get them up to where they need to be.
And I know from the first email I sent out to my network telling about, we are right now planning to get you to go to Denmark and do this training. Some people had a concern about, could you really transfer this kind of mindset, this kind of conversational stuff into Danish or German or Swedish or whatever? And
Right.
I can easily destroy the concern about that, because I've been training with you for quite some years.
Sure.
I've been training with Igor, and whatever he does is in English. And I do know that you can do a lot of crazy stuff with the words in English,
Right.
but it's actually easy applicable to do in Danish or to do in Swedish, whatever, German also, because
Right.
it's all about finding those gaps and those words who has a greater meaning to it, and you can turn it around, you can twist it, you can bend it, and that's the whole, magic about the mind-bending language also. It works in whatever kind of language you speak.
Exactly.
So, it's awesome.
It really is.
So-
We have great ambiguities in the English language.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it can't be applied to anything else.
Exactly.
In fact, you were in Amsterdam. You were at the Ericksonian training. Most people there were from European countries.
That's true.
And there was a good portion of them who barely spoke any English,
True.
and still got great benefit from the training.
All right, so what we got settled already is that this training starts at April 26th, that's right? And it will go on for 6 days, but we do have kind of a surprise, right?
We do
added 2 extra days to that. We cannot tell you about the content yet, but it will be you and I doing some special stuff with those people who are actually at the training. And we just decided just a couple of minutes ago, when the connection actually got lost a little bit, that for the first 10 people attending this training, those extra 2 days would be free.
Free, yeah.
Actually free.
And I guarantee it's going to be fun, because we always
yeah.
have fun when we're teaching together.
Exactly. And also the 10 first people who sign up will also get a special treat within the training, some extra attention from you and I, and we will tell people about that a little bit later also.
Some personal attention.
Personal attention.
Yeah.
And we can also right now reveal that the sign-up, the registration process will actually be launched at February 4th.
Correct.
And it's all about, getting everybody to have the same chance to get those first 10 seats with the extra benefits to it.
Right.
And there might be some discount. There might be some extra little bits and pieces for students
people,
from me.
Yeah, for people who take fast action, they're going to get a little bit of extra bonus, and of students of yours will also get a little bonus as well, a little discount. So it's going to be good for everybody, especially those people who decide that they're going to jump right into it.
Exactly. And I guess what you and I will keep doing is post a video once in a while talking about the conversational stuff, maybe even give a couple of examples so people know exactly what to expect.
Indeed.
I know your website got some good content already about the conversational stuff, some good information. And so I'll just let everybody know that keep attention to my webpage, to Steve's webpage. You might as well just give them your contact information already.
Okay, you can go to masterhypnosistraining.com. That's my training site. If you go to the training button at the top, you'll see Conversational Hypnosis. Drop down there. The dates for Denmark I can't remember if I put them on there yet or not. They will be on soon.
Yeah.
But you know the dates because you're watching this video.
Exactly.
But yeah, you just get prepared and be ready for it, because on February 4th, when we launch this, I'm expecting a flood of students to come in, and we can only handle so many.
Exactly.
I like to keep my trainings fairly small because I want everybody to have attention.
Exactly.
And I don't want to fill up the room with 100 people. But we'll see what happens. If we get flooded with it, then we'll work it out. And I've got some students who can come in, some previous students who can come in and actually assist us if that comes about. But the people who sign up first are the ones that are going to get the bonuses. And who knows, maybe we'll take them out to dinner, and actually get to know them personally before we even get into the training.
Exactly.
But we'll see what happens with that.
And everything would be in English. For those who are not that well at English, I will make sure that they do understand everything. I know the concept of it. I know how to teach. So there will be a little safety net catching those people who are not that quick on the technical stuff. to make sure that everybody will get what they need to understand this and to become certified within conversational hypnosis. So, but it would definitely be a very good idea to be able to speak and understand just a little bit of English, right?
Yeah, it would be. You're going to have a lot more fun if you can understand, English pretty well. But yeah, even if you don't, come into the training. It's going to be a lot of fun, regardless.
Exactly. So, well, Steve, it would be a wonderful time we will have together in April, and see you soon on the web doing some more videos and tell people about what this is all about. So. And this will be the first European training that Steve is actually doing within conversational hypnosis. So we're hoping for a lot more people than just Danes. I know there's kind of a big interest in Sweden and in Germany at the moment. So who knows what's going to happen.
And so I've had interest from all over Europe.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great mix of people. And it's going to be a great learning experience for everybody who comes.
Yeah. So the first 6 days, that would be the conversational certification. And we have added 2 extra days that the first 10 people will get for free, and everyone else can buy as an add-on. And, February 4th, that would be the release date. So everybody keep aware and keep, attention on the web pages, and we will get all the information for you guys right out there so you know exactly what to do.
We'll do the countdown.
Exactly. So thanks for joining me today, Steve.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And see you later.